Hello everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Valmore. We're back in the dwarven section today for a breakfast dish of meat and potatoes. It is a very popular dish in the real world and in the D&D world. This is bangers and smash. Let's get started. For this I'm gonna chop up some leeks and some parsley. So I'm going to put my potatoes in the tray, and I'm going to roast them for about 30-40 minutes until they get soft. So I find the dwarf eating habits interesting. As a culture that spends much of its time living underground, you would expect that diet to consist of a lot of mushrooms, root vegetables, like those we've seen with the drow and gnome recipes. But dwarves like to eat meat with a side of meat and potatoes. Now, whether that means they have great trade relations with their neighbors, trading a lot of gems, minerals, and crafted goods for the meat that they crave, or maybe their kingdom just has humans and halflings as part of it, and they have farms above ground that just supply it. However it falls, that depends on how you build your world. But an interesting story hook you might build into it is somehow the supply chain has been interrupted. And now you have a bunch of cranky dwarves who haven't had a good steak in weeks. It might not be your end game campaign, but it might be a fun little plot hook. So I've let my potatoes soften up, and that's just round one. They're going to go back in the oven, but first I'm going to season the pan. I'm going to spread around some oil, and add a little salt and pepper. Then I'm going to return the potatoes to the pan. And some of my potatoes have already exploded, but it's important when you bake in them to stab them once with a fork. Fortunately, they're just going to be smashed up anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten them. And then I'm going to top that with a little more oil. And now with a little space around them all so they can get crispy, I'm going to put them back in the oven for about 15 minutes. Now I'm going to put my leeks in a bowl, some olive oil, salt, and pepper. And I'm going to toss that around. Now that those are cooked up a bit, I am going to add my leeks onto half the tray, layer my sausages on top, and then return those to the oven for about 8-10 minutes. Now I'm gonna put the tomatoes into the bowl, add some more oil, salt, and pepper, and toss that together. Now I'm gonna add these tomatoes onto my tray and put that back in the oven for about another 10 minutes. Timing is key when you're making a dish like this. If you put one ingredient in at the wrong time, something doesn't get cooked enough, something else gets cooked too much, it could quickly spiral out of control. So knowing when to add the next ingredient is a little bit of a practice, it takes some getting used to, but it's worth it when everything comes out the way this did. The tomatoes are sweet, the potatoes have a crispy outside and are soft on the inside, and the sausage has a great crunch when you bite into it. Overall, this was a perfect execution with a wonderful dish and just full of flavor. I hope you enjoyed. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at chef_Valmore. The links are in the description below. And thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and come on back next week for another recipe.